Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome. This is the last session of the Road to Certification Associate Cloud Engineer from our communities of GDG Lawrence, Cloud Twin Cities, Capital Region, GDG Hudson, GDG Suncoast, everybody. A great collaboration of all of us. This is the last formal session. We still have a couple more office hours, but this is the last formal session where we're going to do the last review of the material that you need to study in order to take the certification of the Associate Cloud Engineer. We just wanted to say kudos to everybody. Thank you to all of you who joined us every single session, every 2 weeks, joining our sessions, hearing us talk about cloud, joining us a community, learning together, completing the badges and all of that. We just wanted to say we couldn't be more proud of this community and all the things that we learned throughout these couple of months together. So kudos to you. Thank you so much for accompanying us in this journey. Let's continue. So where are you on your journey? So remember that, this is where you're supposed to be at this point. If you kept up with the labs and all the on-demand training, like this is the last week. If you see the last one, week 6, this is where you should be right now. You should have at least seen some of the 5 on-demand training, gotten all the badges. If you didn't, that's totally fine because you may have taken it at your own rhythm, but it's all good. But if you kept up with us and kept on the rhythm, you should be at week 6, where we're going to be dealing now with a very high-level overview of getting started with Google Kubernetes. It's going to be led by none other than our very own Kevin Kwan, who's also taking the certification as well. So thank you, Kevin, for leading this session. We're going to start in just a minute. For this week of the study group badges that were meant to be obtained, were the getting started with the Google Kubernetes engine and the deploy to Kubernetes. These 2 badges you're supposed to have gotten these at this point. But again, like I said, you still can take them at your own pace. You still have a couple more months to go in your journey in the road to certification credits, so that you can use Cloud Skills Boost to continue getting the knowledge in the cloud as you learn more about the cloud and accompanying us in this journey, and you learn more about it in preparation for your but there's all of these badges that you can get. They definitely give you the confidence and the knowledge that you need to go and take the exam, which is pretty good. So we have a great announcement. Again, like I said, in a few minutes, Kevin is going to go over the week 6 review of what you're supposed to study and what you will be seeing or what you went through in the week. But the announcement that we have is, again, what are you getting now that we've completed all these 6 weeks worth of cloud content? What are you getting out of this? So for those of you who complete all of the 12 badges, you're going to get automatically, you're going to get a voucher, a Associate Cloud Engineer exam voucher, which is a $125 value, and you're going to get a Google Cloud t-shirt. So, but still, if let's say you have not completed, let's say you only have 2 more to go, or you have 1 more to go, or 3 more to go, you're almost there. We're still going to give you a chance, 1 more chance to complete it. You still have a chance until the last day of Cloud Next 2022, which is October 13. In 2 more weeks. In 2 more weeks, we will announce whoever's going to get their exam voucher. If you've completed all 12 badges, you're going to get a voucher. No questions asked. You're going to get 1 voucher so that you can go and take your exam. So that is us as a token of our appreciation, so that we can continue supporting on your journey on becoming a cloud developer, a cloud engineer. So for those of you who have completed all the 12 badges, you will get the voucher, $125, and a Google Cloud t-shirt, kind of like like your graduation gift, pretty much. So if you want to know, where all of you are, make sure to go inside, go to our RTC badge tracker, and you can see all the people who have completed all the badges. You can keep track of all those folks, so you can see who's completed all the badges, who hasn't. And again, if you haven't and you're almost there, make sure to then try to see if the next couple of weeks you can still complete those 12 badges. If you have those 12 badges, then you're gonna get one voucher. You still have until again our next session, which hasn't been set yet. We're gonna set it up tonight. October 13 is gonna be like our celebration. We're gonna be raffling the tickets and all of that. So now, for those of you who couldn't complete the 12 badges, for one reason or another, totally fine. But if you complete more than like 6 badges, like half or more, like 6 or 7 or whatever, but you didn't complete it, for example, and you can't complete it, we're still gonna give you a chance to win one exam voucher, but we're gonna raffle it among those folks who have completed 6 or more. If you've completed 6, you made the cut. If you completed 7, you made the cut. If you complete 11, you made the cut. If you make 12, you're getting a voucher. You see, that's how it works. So 6 or more, you're gonna enter a raffle for two exam vouchers, and also you're gonna get a cloud t-shirt. So if you get complete 6 or more, you're gonna get a cloud t-shirt. You're gonna enter the raffle for of 2 exam vouchers so that you can go and take the exam for free on us. You're gonna enter that raffle, and also you still have a chance until in 2 more weeks until Cloud Next 2022, which is on October 13th. But wait, you think that, oh, I didn't do anything, I only did 1 badge. No, you also get something. So for everyone else, you're gonna get into the raffle of some cool cloud swag, Google Cloud swag. And also, if you complete, let's say 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, less than 6, you still enter a raffle to get some cloud swag. We're gonna in the form of t-shirts and whatnot, but you at least enter the raffle for doing that. Again, we just wanted to thank everybody who has accompanied us throughout this journey. So hey, it's only fair that we also reward you with something for being here, helping us out, learning with us, and accompanying us in this journey. So just wanted to say thank you, everybody. Again, like I said, let me just remind you real quick. If you get all the 12 badges, you get a voucher and a t-shirt. More than 6 or more, you enter the raffle for 2 vouchers and a t-shirt. And if not, you still enter our raffle, but just to get a t-shirt, because at least you've gained. I'm pretty sure you've gained at least what the different classes of cloud buckets are, or all the time that we've said like a common things in here. You've picked up a thing or two about cloud, so you deserve at least some Google Cloud swag. So without further ado, that said, those are the announcements. And again, all the winners will be announced on October 13th, which is the last day of Cloud Next 2022, which is going to be a 3-day free event. Make sure to sign up for Cloud Next so that you can check out the new announcements in cloud, but also the 3rd day of the cloud, which is October 13th. That's on a Thursday. We're going to announce all the winners. We're going to distribute the raffle, the vouchers. So make sure to stay tuned for that invite. Does anybody have any questions before we proceed and hand it over to Kevin to start with with the session? So
yeah, Roman, before I do that,
can
you show your app showing who's
right here? Yes, right here I see Paul. Of course, that's redundant to even say, oh, Paul. No, he already has all those badges earned from a long time ago. So Paul, you're already automatically you're gonna get a badge. You see, this is the reward that we're giving to folks. So please help me in giving a round of applause to the folks who have completed all of them. Paul, congratulations. Who else? I think John. Did you, and maybe still not updated. John is still well on his way to do that. Kevin, did you complete all of them as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. So yes, make sure that let's take a look. Like if it opens up here, it's giving giving us all the days. Say now it went crazy. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. Yeah, it went crazy on me now because it's like, oh, it's the last day. I don't know what to do. So there's a bug there in that thing. So once it comes up, you will see like who's completed all the badges. So here it is. So Paul, we have me. We have Carol is like well on her way. We have a couple other folks in here who have completed a lot. So all of you who have completed again, less than 5, you enter a raffle to get some swag. 6 or more, you enter the raffle for 2 vouchers. And if you've completed them all, you have a voucher guarantee. So thank you so much. And Linda says, how many labs quests you did? So remember, it's 12 badges altogether.
No, I was answering a question. They said, what is that yellow dots? And I says, maybe there are the labs or quests that you completed.
Yes, and you still have a chance if, let's say, LJ, I see that LJ hasn't provided his or her profile. If you provide the link, we're gonna add it in here, and then we're gonna see your badges being earned. So make sure that in the Slack you drop your profile. You still have a chance. The next 2 weeks, make sure to complete all the badges. If you get all of the badges, you're gonna get a voucher guaranteed on us. Thank you so much, guys. So now, without further ado, let's hand it over to Kevin. Let me stop sharing.
Thank you very much. I think John still says he's still stuck on the Jenkins, so we can probably help you out.
Definitely. Offline, we can take it up, John, and we can help you out. Thank you.
Okay, let me share my screen. So give me a second. Okay, I think the screen is coming, right?
Yes, we can see.
Thank you. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining today. I'm really happy that you are attending the session. This is, as Roman is saying, this is the week 6 of the journey, and and very gratifying that everybody going to the 6th week, and it for me it's actually taking a while. I mean, it was fun throughout the journey. I've learned a lot, and completing the courses, completing the lab, and then stuck on some lab, and it was kind of fun. And I just want to, thank you all of you participating in the journey with us. So tonight's session, I'm going to cover basically in the last course is about Google Kubernetes engines. So before that, it's actually we're going to cover some review of what is the basic information that we went through the last couple of weeks about the cloud computing. And then we're going to go to the cloud services and what is a container and what is the Kubernetes, and we're going to be talking about Kubernetes architectures, and then we're going to talk about the workload that we can actually deploy to Kubernetes. So so this is the introduction to cloud computing. Basically, we're going to be talking about cloud computing is basically traditional in the traditional data center environment where you have your local company IT department. They have to buy all the hardware, and then they have to install all the operating system, and then they have to managing the entire data center themselves. In comparison to the traditional electrical delivery, electric delivery to your house, basically in cloud computing is basically gathering all the hardware in the data center, and then distribute it across the globe using the internet, and then you can basically provision all your resources in the cloud, computing resource in the cloud. The cloud computing vendor, they get basically managing all the computing resource for you. So basically that's the infrastructure as a service. Then you don't have to worry about if something goes wrong, some hardware go wrong, and then you have to replace the hardware. You don't have to worry about that. That's going to be done by the cloud computing vendors. So basically, you provision the resource to go to Google Cloud, and you basically have to log on, and then you have a few click, and you actually go to compute engine. You can create any VM that you actually want to provision. You can specify the hardware itself, and you can specify the memory, and you can specify the networking resource that you need for your compute engines. And then for the services, you pay as you go. You pay what you use, and just like you're paying electricity, how much you use for your electricity. Elastic resource allocation means that you can actually provision and from a smaller side to a bigger side, anything that you like, from up to, I think, 200 and something CPU. I could be wrong. I think 200 and something CPU you can set up virtual CPU that you can scale up to. So from the Google Cloud Computing solution, the ranging from compute engine, Google Kubernetes engine, app engine, Cloud Run, and Cloud Function. So the compute engine basically allows you to spin your VM, individual VM. Then after you spin it up, you still have to manage your operating system, meaning that you have to actually install your own operating system, configure the operating system, and you can provision whether if you want to use Linux or you want to use Windows. Google Cloud supporting all of that. The Google Kubernetes engine I'm going to be describing follow on slide. The app engine allows you to deploy your app. For example, you create your app that you want to deploy to Google. You don't want to spin up your compute engine and move your app into it. The app engine basically is a managed resource. It's a platform as a service that allow you to deploy your app to the app engine. You don't have to configure the VM yourself. And Cloud Run is basically a containerized service allow you to run single container in it. It's very similar to Google Kubernetes. And Cloud Function is a very small runtime environment that allow you to write a very small function that you actually trigger to whatever trigger something that you want to do in your applications. Something like that, you can actually implement in an IoT environment where when something comes into a there's something called pops up, and also supported by Google. You can write a function subscribing to that pops up, and then if somebody publish something, then you would get that event in your Cloud Function. You would process in the Cloud Function. So from here, you go from the compute engine. You go from the IaaS is basically infrastructure as a service, and you go into the hybrid environment, which is GKE, and then you go to platform as a service, the app engine I mentioned earlier. The Cloud Run is supporting only stateless container, and then you go to serverless logic using the Cloud Function. In addition, Google Cloud has a automatically when I think we're talking about in Google Cloud is assigning an organization has a project. Under the project, organization have a folder and project. So under the project, that you have all the resources underneath your project, and the cloud Google Cloud Networking is part of it. So you would have a VPC, which is the virtual private cloud, and it configure the default VPC for you by default when you create the project. and configure all the subnet and regional subnet and all the zonal environment for you. And then in addition, they allow you to configure your custom VPC that for whatever purpose that you need to do, allow you to basically customize it. And Google Clouds also provide the load balancer, allow you to providing globally and also regionally. Load balancing basically allow you to divert your incoming ingress traffic into your environment to horizontal scale your platform, your solutions. So there's also Cloud DNS, which is support domain name service resolution. The default one that Google provide is the 8.8.8.8 worldwide DNS server for us to use. The content distribution basically allow you to the caching, seeding, caching your content closer to the user, and VPN allow you to basically allow you to create a network, virtual and private network between your on-premises solution infrastructure to the cloud infrastructure. One of those use cases that could be like, for example, if you create a solution in Google Cloud that you want to connect it to have a private network connected to your customer site. For example, some of the project that I may be working on is the working in hospital environment. You create a solution, you want to connect to the hospital with your application, you would probably need the VPN connected to the hospital environment. The interconnect is much, the VPN is a bit slower, so the interconnect allow you to direct connect, I believe they're using some high-speed interconnect connected to on-prem data center. And in Google Cloud, there's a number of storages available for us to use, and there's a cloud storage, Firebase, and it's another one. Firebase is a NoSQL database, and then you have Cloud SQL and Cloud Spanner. Those are relational database, and Bigtable, I believe is support a very large storage table. And I think in petabyte or terabyte, but it's very big. And BigQuery is for analytics, and it also support globally as well. So Google Cloud Managed Storage, I mentioned previously, you have a relational database, Cloud Storage, Cloud SQL, Cloud Spanner, and then the NoSQL database, which is the Firestore and the Bigtable. And then you have the object storage, which is the cloud storage, and in the cloud storage, when you store something in that, and you can keep the version for you. So when you push a new file to it, it basically versions it for you. And there's BigQuery that basically for analytics is create a data warehouse for analytics. You have a memory store for some performance requirement that you need in applications. Okay. And in terms of security, Google provide many different layers to support security. They provide tools allow you to configure, enable, and then create a secure environment. Basically, you go look at from the hardware perspective, from the hardware level, and you can go all the way up to the usage level. So from hardware for booting the hardware itself, there should be some kind of secure boot, and then the OS layer, then into then ITC, inter-process communication, and then the storage, and the application layer, and the deployment and operation. And we cover, I think we cover some of this already. This is just a review of what we have. We have reviewed so far. And you can also integrate a third-party tool to enhance its security. Google provide a lot of tools for us to monitor the infrastructure and monitor the applications, and then to do a lot of auditing, allow us to do a lot of auditing. There's other log you can have to look at in Google Cloud. And they provide a lot of that functionality that you don't have to implement. The Stack driver basically supporting all of that for us. So, with Google Cloud, there's a couple of ways to accessing Google Cloud. You can access it in Google Console, which is go to the browser, log on to the console. In the console itself, you can create a cloud shell and basically create I think it's 5 GB VM for you, basically a Linux VM, and you can interacting Google Cloud with all the resources from the cloud shell. And you can also accessing the Google Cloud via the SDK. The SDK, you can actually build maybe your command line application using the SDK, and you can actually access the Google Cloud to that. And Google Cloud also provide mobile app that you can access the Google Cloud resource using mobile app. I haven't tried that, so I don't know how useful that may be, because your mobile app may be a little small, maybe on a tablet, maybe okay. So we're going to go to the next one. Next section is the introduction to container and Kubernetes. So what is the container? So a container basically is an isolated environment, allows you to run your application. Basically, when you build your application and you have to worry about your application dependency and how they deploy them, in the container is much straightforward. Basically, what you want to do is you want to deploy your application, dependency in the single container, and that single container only have all the OS layer required to run your application, and there's nothing else other than your application, then all the supported infrastructure that your application need to run. It's a very lightweight, and it's very isolated, and it's very easy to deploy. And you can create and shut down very quickly, and it's standalone. All is executable. Then all your dependency all packaged together in the single container. There's a benefit of doing this. I'm gonna dive into how we can create a container in the next couple of minutes. So we're going to be talking about the structure of the container, and basically I mentioned there's a layer. The lowest layer is the OS layer. You can actually specify many different type of Linux OS. In this case, this example is just basically describing we're using Ubuntu 18.04, and you can specify Alpine if you want. You can specify, actually there's a layer that actually you're writing a Golang application. Basically, you just specify from Golang, and that's all you need. And then the second layer is what you copy your app to it. And then third layer is running your app. And then you actually copy, here is running the app here. Make your app, and then you run your app. There's one more layer on top of all the read-only layers here, is the very thin layer. Is called read-write layer. This layer, it goes away when the container stop. If you want to preserve any data in the container, you have to map your local volume to it, and then you save the data into your map local volume. And then after you exit the container, and your data still be there. I'm going to try to see if I can do a demo, but let's see. I have copied down, when I was doing the lab, I copied down one of the folder. I'm just trying to open it up. Hang on a second. So I'm going to overlay this over to the screen. I think I have to stop my presentation first. Yeah.
While you do that, I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions around any of the things that Kevin has discussed. Again, now we're going to proceed to like a demo, how it goes. So, stick around. If you have any questions, let us know. We are on deck to answer. Okay. So Kevin, I think is ready. So go ahead.
Do you see that the font is? Oh, then I opened the wrong thing. No, actually, I opened the right thing. Big. I'm trying to see where Valkyrie. This is Valkyrie. Remember the Valkyrie app? And this is the Docker file. So I mentioned.
The Valkyrie.
It's a file. Is the fonts okay? I'm trying to increase the font.
I think that looks good. I mean, if anybody else has any complaints about it, otherwise you could do. Are you on a Mac? You could do the. What is it?
Is the Control Plus one?
Yeah, exactly. The Command plus. You could.
Yeah, Command plus. I get made bigger. It's better not. And basically, this is the I mentioned earlier. So it is the Golang, right? There's Golang, this layer, and then you basically you're working directory, and you copy your source code to it, right? So, and then you run the install, and then when you actually execute the container, and this is the entry point for your app. And you run your app, and then specify the command line argument in your app, and then this is port 8080, specify the port. So that's it. Let me see. I can go to. I'm going to go to a terminal here. So I believe I have Docker, isn't it? Docker. Okay. So Docker. I have Docker installed locally. And basically, I go Docker, make sure I'm in the right folder. Oh, this folder doesn't have the Docker file. Oh, yeah, I got to go to the right thing. So I'm inside the Valkyrie app, and there's a Docker file, right? So what you do is say Docker-t, basically -t is the tag, you give it image tag. And I think you just say, I'm going to say this Valkyrie app. I mean, you can give it version, something like that, version 0.0.1. And that's just, I didn't like that. Oh, I forgot, Docker build.
Just wanted to say all the videos, all the recordings for every single session are in the GDG Lawrence YouTube channel. Linda, can you drop the link to the GDG Lawrence YouTube channel? All the recordings, including this one, will be there as well. Yes.
Yeah, so it's building, basically pulling from the Docker Hub, all the content from there, and then it's building the image, and it's building locally. So that's how you build the Docker image. So you if you do some of the lab itself, the challenge lab, or one of the lab, that this is some of the steps you have to actually go through. All right, so this is I'm not waiting for it done. It's still doing it. So I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna go back to my presentation. And I'm gonna make sure put it in full screen. Okay. All right, so let's just hang on a second. And next, we're going to be talking about what is Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is also known as KAS. So when you're doing some of the lab, and some of the lab, the folder is actually, the Valkyrie folder has a KAS folder. Underneath that folder, it has a couple of deployment files in there. And so Kubernetes is an open source system for automating deployment, scaling, and management of the containerized applications. So container application I mentioned earlier, right? So basically, you build your application, it's run inside a container. You can run that locally. So with the image I just built, using the Docker run command. And also in Kubernetes, actually supporting that, you don't have to worry about allow you to deploy your Docker container within the Kubernetes environment. So Kubernetes, you have the automation, and then it has container management feature. It had the imperative configuration, and it has also the declarative configurations. The configuration basically is specified in the .yaml file. I do have an example. Maybe I can show later. But when you go into the lab, you actually, you will encounter those examples using the YAML file. So I found a very interesting, video of this guy presenting Kubernetes in 5 minutes. And basically, in 5 minutes, he described the whole Kubernetes and how it works. The main piece that is describing is like in Kubernetes, you have a control environment, which is the KAS cluster services. You have a number of services within the cluster environment. This is in the course itself, this is called the control plane. And then you have multiple workers. You have, these are worker is called node. Each worker, it basically is a virtual machine. And within the virtual machine, you have this K, meaning the QB process is running within the virtual machine. And then they all communicated to the cluster services, the control plane. So this control plane basically communicating to these worker, and then provisioning what container need to be run within the worker. And then the desires, basically Kubernetes is some sort of desired state management. So basically you have a spec it out, what kind of container application you want to run, how many of them, where to run it, and you can specify in the spec. This is one of the examples of YAML that this gentleman was talking about. So you have app1.xaml, and then this deployment is an object in Kubernetes. And then there's the part 1 and part 2. Part is the smallest object in Kubernetes. Basically, the part is you can think of as a bigger container, but it's a enclosing service that actually run the container. The part actually supports multiple containers. When you say container image 1, container image 2 here, and you can actually have more than one and two, more than that number. Replica meaning to specify how many replica of the pod is running. So, and then basically, yeah, that's the whole Kubernetes environment. In this case, in open source Kubernetes, if you want to create this environment, you have to manually create all of these. So this is maybe a virtual machine. On the right hand side, you may have to create 3 virtual machines, and this is, you have to managing all of them by yourself. With GKE Google Kubernetes engine feature, it's a fully managed environment that you don't have to worry about creating VM. You have to only worry about creating the Kubernetes cluster. Within the cluster, you can specify how many workers that you need in there. It's also do auto repair, and it provides security management, identity access management, the IAM. I hope you remember the IAM. Some of those would be on the exam itself. Then the containerized OS. We just talked about the containerized OS itself. You can actually scale the cluster and integrate and logging environment. I mentioned mentioned earlier using the stack driver. It's auto upgrading. So if one of those guys die, it's automatically I think you can upgrade the service, and one of those pieces die, and it's automatically created by itself. It's very easy to integrating. It's also integrating the networking within the pod itself. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So next, I'm going to be talking about Kubernetes architectures. I sort of touched on that a little bit. So if you look at, this picture itself, I found is that the whole architecture of Kubernetes is basically, I mentioned earlier, right? You have the whole services, you have the scheduler, and then the API server, the QB controller manager, and then etcd. It's basically local configuration that owned by the Kubernetes. They write the configuration in there, and the worker and the pod. So basically, that's the whole Kubernetes architecture. So within the architecture itself, then you have the Kubernetes object. So the Kubernetes object has states. So you have the spec to specify what the desired state is, and also the object respond with the current state of the object. So if the current state does not match the desired state, Kubernetes basically it will make sure that those two match. It will create an object for you, create a pod when the pod goes down. So the pod I mentioned earlier, the smallest object in Kubernetes, and within the pod itself, you have a shared networking and shared storage. So you have IP within the pod. That's a range of IP, but I think it's assigning only one. You have the range of IP within the Kubernetes, but within the pod itself, I believe it's only one IP address. All the 3 containers share. So you have shared networking within the container itself. So in this example, it just showed 3 containers within the pod. So you can have more within the pod itself. And next is the Kubernetes processes. So this process is very important. In Google Kubernetes, this control plane is created for you. You don't have to worry about creating VM I mentioned earlier. So whatever allocation of memory disk space, this is going to be automatically taken from your specification, if you're on the cluster, are going to be automatically created for you. Let's see. You have the scheduler, the controller, the manager, cloud manager, and then you have specify the node, how many nodes that you want in your cluster. And see, this kubelet process is actually running within this node. So GKE manage all the control plane component, which I mentioned earlier. All these components, scheduler, control manager, and cloud, QB cloud manager. So the way to communicate to the Kubernetes cluster that is the QB control. QB control allow you to allow you communicating to the cluster and then to Kubernetes, allow you to specify your deployment environment, allow you to spin up or scale up of your environment as well. And also they have a concept of nodes, a node pool to manage different kind of node. Basically, a node pool is a subset of node that you can actually share the configuration and the amount of memory and the CPU. Is also provide easy way to ensure that workloads run correctly on your hardware itself. And yeah, also in Kubernetes, you can specify the different way of in the region or zone. We need to create a Kubernetes within the zone itself. So you have a cluster and a control plane and all your nodes. But if you want to specify a redundancy, you probably have multiple zones. So that means that if you have 3 nodes in your 3 zones, that means you would have a multiple of 3 nodes with multiple of 3 nodes in each zone. So in this case, you have a region, 3 zones. You have each zone contain 3 nodes, and the control plane would be within this zone itself. So this is you can actually scale your cluster within the 3 zone environment that provide you redundancy. And a regional zonal GKE cluster can also set up as a private cluster. So if you don't want to expose the cluster to outside to the internet, you can actually create your private cluster within your environment. So I'm thinking I might be running out of time. I got 7 minutes left. I'm trying to get closer to finishing up. So the next is once you have the cluster, so you have to figure out how you define your workload and how to actually run your workload. QB control command I mentioned earlier. So basically, one of the labs you'll be doing, you'll be using QB control command to specify the example file that you want to deploy, called deployment. The deployment I mentioned earlier is an object, and you specify what the desired spec that you want, and then how the different node that you specify in that, what kind of image they want to run within the pod. And that's what you use this command for. There's many different parameters in this command. You can actually get a list of pods that you want in your cluster using this command. In this example, basically we're deploying 3 Nginx pods, and basically this is Nginx is a web server. You can actually deploy on the 3 different nodes using the QB control API call. I think I sort of mentioned this earlier. Deployment declare the state of the pods, right? So basically, it's a you roll out the using the deployment YAML file. You roll out the how many pods within your environment. You basically use a QB control command, specify it, and then you just run it. And you can use the QB command to roll back to the previous version if you like, and also you use it to scale or auto scale your pod. This is well suited for stateless applications. When you go to the lab, you actually go to all of this example. I mean, I'm just describing, and there's still a lot to learn in here. So make sure you're understanding the concept in this environment, the deployment environment. I'm sure there's going to be some exam question related to this. And so this is the way a blue-green deployment strategy is a strategy how you upgrade from your application version from version 1 to version 2. And basically you set up 2 different environments. While you're doing upgrade version 2, you want to keep the version 1 alive. You can send traffic to one of the version 1, keeping version 1 traffic alive. Then you can actually send some traffic to version 2. And after you're happy with version 2, you can actually minimizing, you slowly disable sending all the traffic to version 2. And then the Canary deployment strategy is basically you scale by the percentage of traffic going to the version 1, and then you're letting the version 2 traffic. I think I said it wrong earlier. Actually, the blue-green is just do a manual switch, and this one is actually sending the percentage traffic to the deployment to the version 1, and then eventually you'll send all the traffic to version 2, and that's how you do that. I think this is my last slide, and that it concluding the presentation. I think I'm right on time. It's 8:58. Roman, do you have anything you want to comment? Hello? Is Roman's offline?
Yeah, I'm right here. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Great. No, I just want to say thank you, Kevin, again. Yeah, okay. I see. Perfect. Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you, Kevin, again, for an amazing introduction. High-level introduction to Kubernetes. Again, that definitely, cements the knowledge that people had about containers and whatnot. But if you definitely, like John mentioned, you gotta practice. That's what actually solidifies this knowledge. Make sure to go out there with your with the credits that you got from Google's Cloud Skills Boost from joining all of these sessions. So go out there, get the badges, get the experience required. Practice is what makes perfection. So Kevin, thank you so much. Yeah, got it.
One of the things I think I felt is helping me because I sometimes have to go to the video multiple times, making sure I understand what the concept is.
Definitely.
It takes some time to it. I'm thinking of before I take an exam, I purchased the Dan Sullivan's video Udemy courses. I'm gonna go do that before I'm gonna take the exam.
Definitely. I think that is good. Also, make sure to join all of our sessions. We have still 2 more. We're going to be doing 2 more. And if you think you still need 1 more, we can let us know. We're going to continue practicing on our own. We're going to have like our own private sessions. If you want to join those study sessions, please make sure to join those. I just wanted to say thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for joining these sessions. Make sure to go to the next week's office hours. We're going to be giving more information about the vouchers, more information about the badges. Give us our profile so that we know where you are, whether you qualify for the exam voucher so that you can get it next session, October 13. Remember that date. October 13 is our last session where we're going to be announcing the winners. but make sure to join our office hours, which will still be going on until October 20th. And we're going to continue practicing for the exam. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for attending today's session.
And even though this is the last formal session, just want to say again, all of you guys joining every night for the past couple of months, thank you so much. Thank you again, Elaine, Jeffrey. Thank you, Carol, for bringing your community. Linda, of course. Thank you, John. John, you brought GDG Hudson Valley with you. Thank you so much, and everybody else joining some of these sessions. We from the bottom of our heart, thank you so much for helping us out and making this a great success campaign. Great. Anything before we close up the line?
No, this is well. Thank you for joining tonight, and appreciate for your time and good luck. Hopefully you'll come to the next couple of sessions for reviewing the exam question, like Roman said.
Definitely.
I think it's going to be very helpful. I mean, I attended all the sessions that we had for the exam questions. I mean, I did something wrong with it, but I went back and reviewing what I did wrong. It's actually helpful.
It is definitely helpful. Yeah, we get it wrong, but then that's where you're gonna have to practice and enforce those skills. But it makes total sense. Yes, ping us through Slack. We're gonna be there in Slack. Thank you, everybody. Any other questions, please reach out to us via Slack. Okay. Have a great night, everybody. See you next time.
Bye bye.
Take care, guys.